My name is Christy, and this is Angel Talk, where the archangels are real, relevant, and accessible to everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Let's talk. Hello, it's Christy Michelle Riggs again with another episode of Angel Talk. If you have not already checked it out, the angel awareness for this coming week of August 16th through the 23rd has been posted. That's up and available for you guys to listen to. So be sure that if you haven't already, that you go ahead and check that out. And what we're going to be talking about just a little bit today with this episode is Uranus retrograde. Now, that's not something that I had intended originally to do a message about, but as I was doing my own seeking and meditating and the things that I do for expansion and growth, as I was doing that over these last several days, I was really drawn into the energies of this Uranus retrograde, and the angels helped me to understand how the energy that this Uranus retrograde is offering us, how that plays into the bigger picture, where we are, where we're going, and the importance and the effect, the importance of the effect that that's going to have and what that's going to be offering us. And it's really kind of interesting. I really enjoyed it. The learning and the awareness that the angels have given me this last week, it's really pretty interesting, and helps me have a much better understanding of why things are happening the way that they're happening and what we can kind of expect. While you can never predict the future, you can understand what themes might come up and that kind of thing, like we've talked about so many times. So I wanted to share with you the awareness that the angels have helped me to have. So we're going to be doing that. Now, Uranus goes retrograde today, the 15th, and will be retrograde for about the next 6 months, so roughly the rest of the year, and then moving into toward the end of January of 2021. And Uranus is going to retrograde in the sign of Taurus. Now, the reason that is a little bit funny to me is Taurus is a very fixed energy. It has the qualities of being very earthy, very grounded, very stable, very sometimes can be seen as even very stubborn, kind of like just the status quo, and very predictable, grounded energy. Okay. Uranus is anything but that. It has been called the Liberator. It's very much associated with personal liberation, personal freedom. It's known as the planet of unpredictability, otherworldliness, taking you by surprise. It is known as the planet of rebellion. I've heard it called that. And so the word of the day is unpredictability. Okay. So you can kind of see with Uranus being retrograde in Taurus, and then also understanding that Uranus is ruled by Aquarius. We're moving into the Aquarian age, and we're still under the effects of the full moon in Aquarius that we had. that is amping up all of these qualities associated with Uranus, and then it's retrograding in this very fixed, earthy, grounded energy. Okay, and then on top of all that, we are in Leo season. We have a new moon in Leo coming up. Mars is in Aries. The Sun and Mercury are both in Leo. And we're still under the effects of the Lionsgate portal. And Mars is going to be making some contact with Eris, sister of Mars, known as the female awakener. She's very feisty, a very feisty, fiery energy. So we have all this fire and all of this energy that is calling us to focus on creativity, individuality, our connection with the cosmos, unpredictability, living in the now moment, rapid change, personal freedom, rebirth, out of the box, innovative, unique, otherworldly, in this very, very fixed, grounded energy. And so that's what I think is so interesting about it, and that you can see with all of that, how this retrograde is going to only further reshape our foundations, reshape our status quo. I think we've all come to the understanding that life as we used to know it is gone and is not coming back. Many people are struggling to find a sense of normalcy, and we're not going to be able to find that clinging to the old timeline, because it has collapsed, and that paradigm is continuing to collapse, and we're seeing that. And so this Uranus retrograde, which is ruled by, again, Aquarius, the age that we're moving into, if we can release our hold on what we knew to be safe and comfortable and normal. I mean, what's normal, right? If we can release our tight grip on that, and we can use this energy to really think about what personal freedom means to us, what personal liberation means to us. If we can see it as an exciting opportunity to really be reborn, to recreate ourselves into whatever it is that we want, and to go within and really find out what makes us unique. If we have the understanding that we are a unique expression of Source, God, Spirit, and that no one else on the planet is exactly like us. We're like snowflakes. We're like fingerprints. And if we can really see ourselves individually as a facet of Source expressing him or herself in human being form, and that's not to say that we're not complete. It's just to say that we are a unique expression of a greater whole. let me give you an example, because I find that when I work with people, that is sometimes a tricky concept to understand. It seems more difficult than it really is. And so I'll give you an example that will help you. I'm Christy, and I am a whole, complete person. Now, there's a facet of Christy that's a mom. There's a facet of Christy that's an artist. There's a facet that's an author. There's a facet that is an angelic channel. There's a facet that is an introvert, very introverted at times. There's a facet that's very extroverted at times. There's a facet of me that's very old-fashioned and traditional. And then there's a facet of me that breaks the mold every chance I get, doesn't want to be constrained or limited to a definition or put in a box. There's a facet of me that really needs things to be orderly and predictable. And then there's a pretty big facet of me that is in the moment and will do something on a dime and very unexpectedly and just go with it if I feel that it's right. And so all of those qualities and all of those facets and many more go into the makeup of me, the whole person. So the same way with each of us that are each unique expressions of Source that come together to make the whole that is the collective. So with Uranus, ruled by Aquarius, being retrograde in this very fixed energy, what I've been shown is that we're going to see even more of what we knew to be our foundation, what we knew to be the norm. We're going to see more and more of that being challenged. And when I say challenged, I don't mean fought against. I just mean brought up for evaluation so that we can see how that really doesn't benefit us. It's not for our highest and greatest good to be all put in one box that says it has to be this way. It's really going to draw our attention and draw our focus and our awareness to individual uniqueness and how we can use that uniqueness. How can we stand out from the crowd? What do we do that is unique, or what do we have to offer that is special and a little bit different than anybody else? And then how can we use that in service to all of humanity? How can we use that in service and to benefit the world that we live in, the world around us, whether that be in our families, in our workplaces, in the group of friends that we have, in our immediate world, understanding that ripples out and makes an impact universally. And then, some of us are called to do that on a very big stage, but that doesn't make it any more or less effective or beneficial. It just is our unique place. I think I've shared with you all before that some of the most unique and impactful, I would say. Is that the right word? Impactful? One of the ways that I have been the most impactful in the world around me is when I was staying at home with when my children were small. I have three children, and when they were very small, I stayed home with them. And I did that in a very unique way. My ideas of parenting can be seen as, I guess, unique. But I did it. I was a very young mother, and I did it intuitively, and I didn't always do it right. I mean, there are definitely, things that I look back on that I would do differently now. Because when you know better, you do better. But even now, the way that I interact with my children now that they're grown is a little bit what some would call unconventional or non-traditional, but I do it intuitively. And so we can never get in this idea that one uniqueness is any better or worse, or one way that we are benefiting the greater good is any better or worse, or greater than or less than another. Because, and again, that's what this whole thing, one of the things that this whole energy is drawing our focus to is the importance of every single human being and the uniqueness of every single human being. And to celebrate that and to allow that to become our new norm, the spontaneity and the uniqueness and the, being in the sign of Leo, like even the flair for the dramatic, not dramatic in a way that is, unbalanced, but just a way that is allowing each person to express themselves and to create and to interact with their world in a way that is a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. It's calling us to celebrate the uniqueness and the differences in one another. It's calling us to look within and find out what makes us unique and different and special, and to celebrate that within ourselves. And with this, we have to remember that as we are reinventing ourselves, and as we are going through this rebirth, and as we are looking inward to find out who we really are, what we really want to do, what we want to create, what mark we want to leave on this world, and how we can be uniquely beneficial to all of humanity, to the world around us, how we can use what we have to make a difference. We have to remember that everybody is going through that. Everybody is going through this rebirth process. And I think one of the more recent episodes, I think it was episode before last, we were talking about that we're just growing up. And if we can see ourselves like that, we can be a lot more compassionate with ourselves and each other. And so as we go through this rebirth process and this reinvention process, we can almost look at it like the awkward preteen years, right? That was like the early 90s for me. And I look back at some of those pictures, and some of it I'm like, especially as some of the styles start to, kind of come back into into fashion and become popular again, I'm like, man, I'm glad that came back. I always thought that was, that was cool to do or cool to wear, or, stuff like that. And then some of it, I look back and I'm like, oh dear Lord, who let me do that to my bangs? And so, but I mean, all of us go through like those awkward preteen, teenage years where we're discovering ourselves, we're finding ourselves, we're trying new things and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And as far as we're concerned, in our reality, there's really nothing to go by, and it's very much that way as we do that internally, and we do that through this spiritual transformation and this awakening. And we get in touch with our connection to Source. We get in touch with being aware of ourselves. And, we've got to hold space and be compassionate with one another. And if we can look at it as that we are going through those awkward phases, then we're not so reactive with each other. Because what happens too is, and one of the more confusing parts of the awakening process, I thought, was as we grow and evolve and change and we recreate ourselves, it holds up a mirror to anyone around us that's still tightly holding on to the old way of things, either out of fear or they're just still asleep or for whatever reason. It holds up a mirror to them. And that can be very upsetting to the person holding said mirror. Or excuse me, that can be very upsetting to the person looking in said mirror. Excuse me. Yeah, that's right. Looking in the mirror that we are holding up. If they are not in a place of wanting to take accountability for that, or not in a place of being ready to change those things, not in a place of being ready to accept what that mirror is reflecting back. And so what the tendency is that if you are holding up a mirror to someone who is insisting that they're afraid and they want to stay small, then in order to feel comfortable about that and feel okay about that, they will want to insist that you have somehow done something wrong, and they want you to just go back to normal and stay small with them. And we can't do that. But there's a loving way to go about that. There's a loving way to handle that. There's a loving way to show compassion for that. Because all it means is that vibrationally we're just not in the same space anymore. We're not resonant anymore. And that's okay. We all have our path. We all have our process. And if we insist, as we grow and change and evolve and expand, if we insist that someone else do that at the same time or at the same rate or see things exactly the same way that we do, then we are not doing anything any different as far as energy goes than the people that are trying to keep us small in order to make them feel more comfortable. It's still oppressive, and it's still insisting our way on someone else. just as they're trying to insist their way on us. So we have to be aware of that. And we have to hold a space of compassion for those that do want to awaken, but might be having just a tough time with that, because these energies are intense and this awakening is happening very rapidly. And so we can't like get in a bubble of thinking that, you know, nobody else has permission to go through the growing pains of awakening. We have to understand that this is shaking everybody up. This is rattling the foundations of life as we know it. And that can be very scary at times. That can be awkward to navigate at times. It doesn't always look pretty. And so the more that we can be compassionate for each other, and the more that we can speak life and speak love into one another and celebrate uniqueness, give people permission to explore what Spirit has given them and what makes them unique, and give them permission to express that and celebrate that. I will tell you, one of the greatest blessings in my life is that for up until about 3.5 months ago, for the past almost 6 years, I have had the unique privilege of being able to really live in the moment and to explore and discover what I like, who I am, who I want to be, how I want to create myself. And particularly for the first, I would say about the first 2 years of this period that I'm telling you about, like from the time that my spiritual awakening really kicked off, and then like probably like the 2 years after that, especially. I realized in the very beginning of my spiritual awakening that I didn't know very much about what I liked and who I wanted to be, because I had been, being very empathic and being very people pleasing, like very concerned with the inner, the comfort and the approval and the acceptance of others, wanting everybody else to feel okay. What I tended to do was create myself however someone else felt that I should. And so I realized that I didn't know a whole lot about what I actually liked and what I really wanted and who I really wanted to be. And so I had this unique experience of being able to be at home every day, because I was trying to get this business and this website and this podcast, all of that was just in the beginning stages of forming. And I think I've told y'all before, my husband at the time was recently retired from 17 and a half years of military service. And we started our spiritual awakening at very same moment. And so I was with somebody that didn't need me to be any certain way or any certain thing in order for him to feel comfortable or for him to know who he was. And that was very unique to my life experience. And so he would celebrate anything that I wanted to try. If I would come in with a different hair color like every 3 or 4 days. He would just be like, oh wow, pink today or red today, or oh, you look good as a brunette, or now it got to the point where that got to be kind of hard on my hair. And so then the solution was just, well, why don't you buy yourself some wigs and you can try it out that way. I tried every different style of clothing, every different style of home decor. And every day was just like this new invention and this, I was just as surprised as anybody else as to, what I was going to express that day. And it was fun. That was a lot of fun. And what I did not realize at the time, but what I was experiencing was a preview of what this Aquarian age is really all about. This inspired creation and individual expression and the now moment, exploration, creativity, and the celebration of those things. And the allowing of others to be doing that too, and to not allow that to make us feel threatened, but to instead look at it like, oh, this is so fun. Look what you're doing today. That's interesting, or that's fun, or that's great. And to allow them that with no apologies, no explanations, no oppressiveness. And I'm telling you, it is a very that is liberating. That is liberating. And it's a whole lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun. It really is. And so that is one of the things that I am just the most grateful for, is being able to have that experience. And so this Uranus period of retrograde in Taurus, and especially in the sign of Leo that loves, performing and creativity and standing out, and not standing out in a way that is what I call peacocking, in a way that is not authentic, in a way that inadvertently makes others feel bad. Just in a way that is just self-expression. And it's self-expression that is not fueled by needing attention, or anything that's coming from like something that's unhealed, or anything that's coming from a place that is seeking to make others feel less than. It's not any of that. It's just authentic self-expression. And it is so beautiful if you pay attention and you watch others that do that. That's why we're drawn to people that do that are able to do that. And it's fascinating to watch. So the energy that is available to us right now, and is going to be available to us, for the next 6 or so months, is really calling us to celebrate ourselves, to celebrate each other, to find what makes us unique, discover things that maybe we didn't even know about ourselves, create new. That's a big part of it, is tapping into this creation energy and understanding that we are under no obligation to be who we were even 30 seconds ago. And so we can have this inspired way of life. And we can celebrate that and make that our new status quo, if you will. Make that our new normal. That's what we're moving toward. And if you can look at it through the lens of it being really exciting and an opportunity, almost like a kid playing dress up, or like how kids will play and pretend that they are something, like a teacher or a doctor or a superhero. And buddy, when they are pretending that, they are not pretending. They are Batman, and you can't tell them any different. For however length of time that they've got the Batman outfit on and they are embodying Batman, they are Batman. And so if we can kind of look at it like that and encourage each other to do that, oh goodness, I promise you want to see people being able to just come to life and create a world that is vibrant and exciting and unique, and just at every corner something new to be in awe of, something new to be amazed by, something new to take our breath away. If we can look at it like that, then it can really be the amazing experience that Source intended for it to be. And I can tell you just from firsthand experience, in the way that I experienced it, it creates an energy of love. It creates it just magnifies this unconditional love that is underneath of all of that. So I encourage you to do that, and I encourage you to take this time of Uranus retrograde and the rest of Leo season and all of the energy that is available to tap into right now, to create with bold expression, create with vibrant color, create with whatever is on your palette that looks appealing to you and that makes you feel alive and good. And then use that to benefit the world around you, benefit yourself. Yourself will benefit beyond any measure I could tell you. And use that to benefit your world, your immediate world, and use it to benefit the collective. And what we will create is just the most beautiful place that you can imagine. So I wanted to share that with you guys, and I really hope that that resonates with you in the same way that having those awarenesses resonated with me, and I hope it gets you excited in the same way. I love each and every one of you. I celebrate your uniqueness. I can't wait to see what you create. I can't wait to see how we each contribute our own color of the rainbow or color of the artist's palette to make this beautiful painting that is humanity and the new way forward. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I hope you have a beautiful week ahead, and we will talk again soon.
I am not an island. I wanna feel the connection.